This video is a tutorial on how to use Bluesky. This is going to cover everything from the basics like getting your account set up to posting all the way through to some more advanced features. So there should be something here for everyone. If you want to watch this video from start to finish, that's fine, but there's also some timestamps in the description below if there's something specific you're looking for. If you find this video useful, please like, comment and subscribe. First of all, we're going to take a look at how to sign up and create your account. So you can install Bluesky from the various app stores depending on which device you have. And when you load it up as an app, this is what it should look like. You have something called create an account or sign in. We're going to assume you haven't got an account yet, so you can go ahead and tap on create account. So on the first page, you just need to enter some basic details like your email address, your password and date of birth. At the top it says hosting provider. You don't need to worry about touching that. This is for if you want to set up your own sort of server to run Bluesky from, but assuming you're a beginner, you don't need to worry, so just leave that as it is. So I'm just going to fill mine in now. So the next step, you just need to choose a username, and this is really similar to the usernames you get on Twitter and Threads. So you just type in the bit after the @ symbol, and then your full username is going to be your username.bsky.social. So I'm going to choose a username. And as you can see, it gives you a preview of what your full username is going to be there. It says @buzzkill.bsky.social. So there are some limitations and things in terms of which characters and that you can have, but it will tell you all of that underneath. So once you've chosen your username, you can hit next. And then there's a captcha challenge you have to go through. And then you're going to get to the part where you're going to start constructing your profile. So Bluesky prefers you to have something there, a profile picture. It doesn't have to be a picture of yourself. So I'm just going to choose something from my camera roll by tapping the pencil icon just underneath that circle. And then I'm going to choose a picture from my library and tap on choose. And there we go. I have a profile picture all up and running. You can also set up a banner picture on your profile, so I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. And then on the next step, Bluesky wants to suggest posts and accounts for you to follow, things you'll be interested in. So what you'll do is it gives you a selection of things you might be interested in, so you can just tap on which ones you think you would like and then choose continue. So I'm just going to choose video games, music, photography, and tech, so I'll choose those four. Then we'll hit continue, and that's basically it. We can hit let's go. It's going to finalize my account, and there we go. It's already given me some posts to have a look at, things you think I'd be interested in. But let's take a look now at customizing your profile to get going. So to find your profile on Bluesky, it's really similar to other apps. If you have a look at all the icons along the bottom, I'm going to show you what all of these are throughout this tutorial, but the very last one, the last circle, you see mine's red. That will actually be what the profile picture you selected earlier. If you tap on that, it shows you your Bluesky profile. And what we can do is we can edit it, put a bit more information on here. So let's start with doing that. So now we've tapped on our profile. Near the top it says edit profile, so we're just going to tap on that, and here we can choose a display name, description, and we can add the banner image that I was talking about a bit earlier. So let's start with that. We've got a big grey strip at the top of the screen there and a small camera icon on the right hand side. So I'm going to tap on that and choose upload from library. I'm going to choose this banner that I've made earlier, hit choose, and there we go. Now I've got my profile picture and my banner at the top, and from here we can choose a display name. So I'm just going to call it my username. And then underneath that, you can put in a description about yourself. And it's probably a good idea in the age of bots and everything to put a little bit of information about yourself, so people kind of know what account you're looking at. If you're looking to sort of set up a business or you're posting just for yourself, then it's a good idea to put a little bit of information. This text box does support hyperlinks. So if you put in a website address, it'll automatically convert it into a tappable link. You can use also emojis in this as well, which is kind of a nice idea to break up a big bit of text, and it also supports line breaks. So I'm just about to create my description now. So now, as you can see, I've put together my profile. I've got all the pictures in place, my custom display name and my description of my profile. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make my very first post, and then I'm going to pin it to the top of my profile. And this is something that would be quite useful for you to do, because the profile description can only hold so much information. So what you can do is have a post pinned to the top of your timeline. So if anyone clicks through to your profile, they've got a description and that first post, which can contain links and whatever you want to have on there to just further introduce yourself to Bluesky. So to do that, you can tap on the blue circle in the bottom right hand corner to create a new post. So to add some text to your post, you can simply type, but there's also some other things you can add to the post. So you have a look just above the keyboard, you can see you can add a picture, you can add a video, you can take a picture of your camera, and you can put Gifs in as well. Now, when you make a post, it has a 300 character limit at the time of making this video. But what you can do is the moment you start adding text to a post, you see just next to the word English here, I've got a plus icon. So this works in the similar way to that Threads does. You can actually generate a thread of different posts. So if I put that there and I tap the plus icon, I can add another post and another post and another post, and you keep adding a series of posts if you've got quite a lot to say. And that way, when you hit post all, it will put everything together as one post in a series of threads, if you like. That way you can put in longer content. But just for now, I'm just going to do one post here. So I've just added in my post, and I've also put in a picture. Now, when you put in a picture, there's a couple of options you've got here. At the top, it says Alt and a plus icon. So this is for people who are visually impaired. You can add a description of what's on the image, and you can type that in there. It's got 2,000 character limit, so you can say quite a lot about what's on the image. Okay. And the other thing you can also do is tap the pencil icon in the top right, and this will allow you to edit the image a little bit. So this is mainly to do with crop and rotation. So if I want to crop this image in, I can just drag in the handles, do something like that, make it a bit bigger, and then I can hit choose, and that crops the image like that. And that's how you do that within making a Bluesky post. Now, if you have a look further down towards the bottom, you have some options here. So the first one says anybody can interact. So if you tap on that one, you can choose who you're going to allow replies from. So at the moment it's set to everybody, but let's say you want to make a post and you don't want anyone to reply, you can actually just tap that first option that says nobody. However, if you go back to everybody, you can still add limits onto who can reply. So you can allow replies for anyone you mention in that post. I haven't here, but you can set it to that. Or you can only allow replies from people you follow. So both of those are quite useful in limiting who can reply to your post if that's something that interests you. In this case, I don't mind, so I'm just going to allow everybody to do that. And just at the top, you've got a setting that says allow quote posts, and you can turn that off as well. So a quote post allows someone to basically make a post on their profile but quote the content of your post within it. There's lots of reasons why you might want to turn that off for a post, particularly if you're posting something that could be controversial. But there's lots of reasons as well why you might want to do that. That setting's there, so you've got quite a lot of options in terms of just protecting the integrity of your account and how people are responding to the post that you make. So I'm happy with these settings. I'm going to hit save. And then next to that, we have something called labels. If we tap on labels, we can mark the post. This is usually for sort of like adult content. So if you want to put NSFW because it contains adult themes or nudity or something like that, you can tag what the content of your post is. That will present a warning to people that they might want to open the post in case it sort of offends them in any way. So that's something you can tag if you want to. So I've made my post. I'm really happy with what's here. I'm now going to tap the post button in the top right corner. And as we'll see in a moment when it's done, the post now appears on my profile. And because this is like an introductory post, I'm now going to pin it the top of my profile. I'm going to tap on the three dots just underneath this image on my post, tap the three dots, and I'm going to choose pin to the profile. And what this says now, just above the post in the top left corner, you see it says pinned. So no matter how many times I post now, that post is always going to be at the top of my profile. So as I said earlier, it's something that's really quite useful. Let's take this opportunity to show you how you might interact with posts on Bluesky. So if you want to reply to a post, now this works on my post or any post you come across, you've got the first icon there, which is like a speech bubble. You can tap that to add a reply to the post. The second one allows you to repost. So you're going to share a person's post on your profile, or you can choose quote post. So that means you're going to share that person's post on your profile, but it allows you to add some text above it. Okay, people kind of do this quite a lot to put reactions to posts or to share something that they have liked, but want to add a little bit more to that conversation. The heart icon is the third one that allows you to like a post. And on Bluesky, next to the heart icon, it will show you the number of people who have liked that post. And let's take another look at that three dot menu. So got lots of things here we can do. If it's on your profile, you can pin or unpin it at the top. If there is a post in another language, you can choose to translate that text for you into the language that it's the default for you. You can copy the text of the post if you want to paste it and put it somewhere else. There are direct messages inside Bluesky, so you can tap on that to share that message via direct message. You can tap on share, which will bring up the share sheet, and this will allow you to send this tweet as a link to people via text message or share it with a particular app. And then below that, you've got some options in terms of muting. So if you've got a post that you've made and you want to mute it in terms of notifications and things, you can mute that thread. If there are particular words and tags within that, you can mute those as well. And I'm going to talk all about muting keywords a bit later on in this tutorial. The interaction settings I mentioned earlier about limiting who can reply, you can still edit that after you've posted. And then delete posts. You can delete posts one at a time within Bluesky. If you want to learn how to delete lots of posts on your profile, then I'm going to show you how to do that a bit later on using another third-party service. So in this part of the tutorial, I'm going to show you two things. I'm going to show you how to copy tweets from Twitter over to Bluesky, and I'm also going to show you how to find people you are following on Twitter and use a tool to see if they've got a Bluesky account so you can find them and follow them really easily. So let's start with moving or copying posts from Twitter to Bluesky. Now, there's two different tools I'm going to show you. One of them is called Porto, which is a Google Chrome extension, and one is a service called BlueMigrate. Now, just before I show you how to do these, what I will say is that there are some drawbacks with copying over your entire Twitter history over to Bluesky. I have done this myself and I found out the hard way. But essentially the way it works is that tweets that you copy from Twitter to Bluesky look like new posts. They look like new posts. The timestamp on them is like you made it today. Okay. If you click on the post, and I'll show you this in a bit, it will show you the archive date, but that's not really apparent at the time we're making this video. That's the way Bluesky have set this up. Now, the reason why this is a problem is because I decided that my 16-year-old Twitter account, I was going to copy all 10,000 posts over from Twitter to Bluesky. Some of these posts I made were about 15, 16 year old matches, football matches that happened. So it happened a long time ago. But because they look like new posts, people thought I just posted them. So I was talking about the sacking of a football team manager 16 years ago. And then I had some people reply to me saying, huh? What are you talking about? Because it was really old, but it doesn't look like it's really old. So I think this is one of those cases where just because you can, it doesn't mean that you should. So what I'm going to suggest you do, if you are interested in copying tweets over, is to do like the most recent ones. Okay. And BlueMigrate is really, really good at copying over your most recent tweets. If you want to ignore what I've said, my warning, and you want to copy every single post you've ever made on Twitter over to Bluesky, then use the Porto Google Chrome extension. It works really easily. The instructions are all there. You'll need to set up an in-app password, which I'll show you how to do anyway for BlueMigrate. But that works really well. I've tried it out. There's no issues there. Okay, but I'm going to suggest you use BlueMigrate because it's going to take your most recent posts and copy them on there. So there's two different tiers that you can do this for. If you sign up for BlueMigrate, you can do 100 posts for free, which I think is good enough, really. I've tried it a couple of times and it did 150 posts for me. So that wasn't bad at all. I'll take the 150. If you want to do more than that, you can pay $4 to do 1,000 posts and threads. Now, with both systems, with BlueMigrate and Porto, there are limitations. So some posts can't be copied over. So things with videos on, video posts can't be copied over. Anything tagged as not safe for work can't be copied over. Any tweets that are more than 300 characters in length can't be copied over. Or they might be sort of truncated, so they're shortened. And there's other things aren't copied over. So the number of likes and retweets and replies can't be copied over. And sometimes I've found that if you've tagged anyone on a tweet, that won't be copied over, or if it does copy over, the followed by the username is not clickable. It doesn't really work because the Bluesky and Twitter's tagging systems work in a different way. So with all that said, with those limitations, it's still probably worth doing just for your most recent posts. I'm going to sign up for a free account and copy over 100 posts because I really don't need more than that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap or click on the top right corner where it says migrate, and we have to set up a new account. So I'm going to set one up now. And once you've signed up for an account, it brings you back to this options page where you can choose a free migration or the $4 one. I'm going to choose the free one because I don't need to copy over more than 100 posts. So now I'm going to tap on migrate posts. And what it's going to do is going to ask you for your Twitter username. So I'm going to type in my Twitter username and then my full Bluesky handle, which is and then on this last form, part of the form you need to fill in, it's asking for a Bluesky password. Do not give anybody your Bluesky password. What you can do is you can set up a app password, and I'm going to show you how to do that now, which means you've still got protections on your account. So to do that, go back into Bluesky and go to settings, and then choose privacy and security. And from here, you can see you've got an option called app passwords. Tap on that and choose add app passwords. I'm going to call this one BlueMigrate. And then when you hit next, it's going to give you a temporary password that BlueMigrate is going to use to log into your account in order to copy those posts over. Okay, so I've just pasted in the password and now I want to hit migrate. And then you get this window telling you that the migration is pending. Because you're doing 100 posts, it's probably not going to take that long. It might take a few minutes. But once it's done, you're going to go back to your profile and you'll see your most recent posts that have been copied over from Twitter to Bluesky. Okay, so the BlueMigrate process has just finished. If I go back to my Bluesky profile and hit refresh, underneath my pinned post that I made earlier, you can see that my most recent posts have been copied over from Twitter, which is really, really useful. It copied over 150 posts for me, so a bit more than 100 it promised, which is good. Now, let's talk about what happens with an imported post from Twitter. As you can see, this post where I talk about joining Bluesky was posted 3 minutes ago, except it wasn't. If I click on the post, and it works on the phone app as well, you can see now it's got this tag underneath that says archived from the 20th of November 2024. So this is what I mean where it potentially creates some confusion. With the posts I've just imported, it's fine. But if I've made posts from years and years ago, it can be really confusing in terms of the timings of it. And not everyone is going to spot the archive tab that is on each post. But there we go. That is how we copy tweets over to Bluesky. So in this part of the tutorial, let's see if we can find the people we were following on Twitter and see if they've got a Bluesky account. So we've got some more people that we're following. So to do that, we're going to use another Google Chrome extension. This is called Sky Follower Bridge. And this is an extension that works really, really well. But what you do need to do is you need to go into, once you've installed it, go to your Twitter account, go to your profile, and then click the part of the profile where it says following. So we're going to have this all here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open up the Sky Follower Bridge extension from the toolbar up here. And I'm going to type in my Bluesky handle. And then once again, it's asking for an app password. And as a reminder, do not use your actual Bluesky password. We're going to set another one up in Bluesky. So go back to Bluesky, go to Settings, Privacy and Security, and choose App Passwords. I'm going to add another app password here. I'm going to call this Sky Follower Bridge. And then I'm going to tap on Next. And when I do that, it gives me a temporary password that I can use to use this service. So now I've copied my temporary password into the Sky Follower Bridge app. I'm now going to hit Find Bluesky Users. And as you can see right now, it's performing a scan to see who the people I'm following, who's got a Bluesky account, and it's going to provide a list of all those people when it's finished. Okay, so the scan's complete. Let's click on View Detected Users. So what it's done here now is presenting a list of all the people that I'm currently following who have a Bluesky account. Now you can choose to tap on each one by one to follow on Bluesky. And it's probably recommended you do this because sometimes there are some false positives, and someone who shares the same name on Bluesky but isn't actually that person could be flagged up because it just searches by name. So that's just something you have to look out for. Alternatively, if you trust it enough, you can just on the left hand side click on Follow All, and then it's going to follow all of these people on your Bluesky account for you. Click on OK. And as you can see now, it's going through each one and following all of them. Okay, so now that process finished, if we go back to our Bluesky account and refresh our profile, you can see I'm now following 72 people. And these are people who I used to be following on Twitter. So these are both really useful tools in order to make that transition from Twitter to Bluesky really, really smooth. Now, let's get back to our phone to look at some more features of Bluesky. Okay, so we're now back in the Bluesky app, and we're now on the home page, and we know we're on the home page because in the bottom left hand corner we've got this home icon that's highlighted here. So we have at the top two kind of tabs that we've got. We've got Discover, and these are posts that Bluesky have suggested for you based on the interest that you flagged at the beginning of the sign up process. We've also got one called Following, and this just shows you posts by people that you are following. Now, it is possible to swap them around, and it is possible to create lists and custom timelines. So along the top of that, you haven't just got Discover and Following, but you've got categories of different people, so you can look at accounts specifically for the thing you're looking for. So for example, my personal one, I have a tech timeline, a music one, a gaming one, a UK news one, a politics one, all on different timelines, so I can just go between them to have a real custom view of Bluesky, which is quite similar to the lists function that we have over on Twitter. So let's show you how to make your first list. To do that, you've got to tap on the icon in the top left corner, which is the three lines. So if we tap on that, and if we have a look down the list, we've got something called feeds and lists. We're going to use both of these in order to create our custom timeline. So the first one I'm going to choose is lists. And at the moment we haven't got any lists, But in the top right corner, we've got a button that says new. And if I tap on that, I can create a new list. So I'm going to call this one tech, because I follow a few different tech accounts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit save. You can add a picture, a custom picture and a description if you want to, but they don't really appear anywhere. So I'm just going to leave it with just the title. If you want to, you can add an emoji by tapping the emoji icon, and I'm just going to put a picture of a laptop there. Okay, and now I'm going to hit save. So now I have this new list, and if you notice at the top, I've got a button that says pin to home. And if I tap on that, what it's going to do is when I go back to my home page later, you see I'm going to have a new tab called tech. But at the moment, this feed is going to be completely empty because I haven't added anyone to the list. So we've got a blue button here that says start adding people. And if I tap on that, I can search for accounts that I'm following to add to this list. So let's search for just a couple of tech accounts. I've got 9 to 5 Mac here, so I'll add that. Let's add that. As you can see, it's now populated the timeline, but if I click on home, you can now see along the top I've got discover, following, and now a new one called tech, and I can add as many different timelines based on lists that I want. And it also is also possible for me to reorder these lists as well, so you can choose whatever your default list is and what shows up in what order. So it's really, really good, really powerful. But let me just show you another way of adding people to a custom list that you've made. If I go back to my following feed, there are some accounts you'll come across that you might not have added to your list previously. So for example, I haven't added The Verge to my list. So if I tap on The Verge's profile picture, it takes me to their profile. And in the top right corner, if I tap on the 3 dots, I can choose from this menu add to lists, and then I can choose add next to tech, and now they are added to my list. So you can add people as you find their accounts across it, and you can add people to your custom lists even if you're not following them. So you don't have to follow all these accounts in order to have them appear on your timelines, which is really useful. So now what we're going to do is we're going to tap on the 3 lines, and now we've got this menu at the side. I'm going to choose feeds, and from here this is where we can adjust the order that the feeds appear. So if I, as you can see, I've got my list of feeds at the top. If I tap on the settings icon in the top right corner, I've now got my list of feeds, but I've got these arrows, and that means I can move them around. So what I can do is I can put tech at the top, following second, and discover third. I'm going to hit save, go back home, and as you can see now, the order of timelines has changed. Okay, and if I leave it on tech, every time I open up the Bluesky app, it's going to appear on that timeline. It doesn't divert me straight to the discover feed, which is something that's really good about Bluesky. So as I say, you can create as many lists as you want, as many different timelines, but it's a really, really good way of customizing your Bluesky experience and only following and seeing posts from the people you want to see them from, which is can make, well, it's probably good for all of our internet mental health, I think, there. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the other icons at the bottom of the Bluesky app, and we'll start with the second one along, which is search. And at the top, you can tap and search for a particular topic or a particular person, and you can find that all at the top there. Underneath, we've got a relatively new feature which is being improved every week by Bluesky, which is to have trending topics, which is something that Twitter did really quite well, and they're starting to bring over onto Bluesky. Now you'll find trending topics at the top of the search panel currently. Alternatively, if you go back to the home screen and tap on discover, it also shows you the trending topics along the top of that feed as well, but you can find them in 2 different places. Below that, you can find a list of recommended topics, so you can tap on one of those and see a feed of all different posts from different people regarding that particular topic. It's also got underneath this suggested accounts of people you might want to follow. And then we've got discover new feeds. These are custom feeds that other people have made that you can add to your timeline list along the top. Yeah, and all sorts of different things you can find here. So we've got things like news and cat pics and all sorts of different things. So you can add custom feeds that other people have already made over to your Bluesky feed list as well. Next one along, we have our direct messaging. It's really, at the moment, quite primitive. It's nothing like direct messaging we get on any other service. It's text-based only. You can tap on the plus icon. You can choose people from a list to message, and that's it. You're just sending text-based messages to each other. That's your limit. The fourth icon along is notifications. These are broken down into two sections. You've got a list of all notifications, which is replies, people who are following you, people who've reposted you, and everything. And then the second tab next to it is called mentions, and these are only going to be notifications when people mention you on a particular post. Now in this part of the tutorial, we're going to take a look at all the different settings found within Bluesky. So if you tap on the 3-line icon in the top left corner of the screen, you've got your menu here, and at the bottom we've got settings. So if you tap on that, you can find all of the different settings relating to your account, but also how the app looks as well and how it works. So if you have more than one Bluesky account, you can, from this menu, you can switch to different accounts if you've got multiple accounts logged in. You can also do this another way. If you tap and hold on your profile icon in the bottom right corner of the app, it brings up a list of all the different accounts that you've logged into or that you've created, and you can switch between them that way. So there's two ways of doing that. So back under settings, we've got account, and from here we can change our email address, birthday, password. We can change our handle. So if you're not happy with the username that you've picked at the start of the process, you can change it. And you can also use this to set up a custom domain if that's what you have. I'm going to talk about that in a bit more detail later on this tutorial, and I'm going to show you how to do that, but you'll find that here. And you can also export your data if you need to download it, and from here you can also deactivate and delete your account as well. Underneath that, we've got privacy and security settings. So here we can enable two-factor authentication, which you absolutely should do just for your security purposes there. You can also set up app passwords, and we used those when we were using Skyflower Bridge and BlueMigrate earlier. So you can also do it within the phone app as well. So you can find that there. Underneath that, we've also got moderation, and this is really useful if you want to customize your Bluesky experience even further. Now these functions are also found on other social media apps, but I've really used it on Bluesky, and I think it could be really good for your health there. So we've got muted words and tags. So this is where you can prevent certain people's names or certain words being mentioned on your Bluesky feeds if you just don't want to see posts about these people, about these things. So if you tap on that, you can set up specific muted tags. So these won't appear, and then if anyone reposts them onto your timeline, it still won't show up. So it's really useful. So you can enter a word that you want to ban. To remain completely apolitical, I'm just going to choose banana, and I can tap add. Now from here, I've got under here my list of muted words. Banana's one of them. I can take it off if I don't want it to be there, but you can add people's names, hint hint, or specific concepts, words, swear words, anything you want. Anything you don't want to see on your feed, you can add here, which is really good. Now you can also set a duration for this. So it might be that you don't want to ban it forever, but you don't want it to appear for the next 24 hours, week, or a month. And the reason is, for example, if you're watching a TV show, the latest episode's out now, you don't want any spoilers, you can literally enter and mute that word for 24 hours or a week or a month until you've watched it. So that could be something that's really useful as well. Okay, so that's how you mute particular words. I'm just going to unmute banana because I'm not offended by that. And that's how you do it. So it's really, really useful. It's definitely worth considering doing. If we scroll further down on here, we've got muted accounts and blocked accounts. So if you've blocked anyone on Bluesky or muted them, then that's where you'll find them. And actually I will show you how to mute or block someone now. Let's say I really don't like 9 to 5 Mac anymore. If I go to their profile, tap the three dots, I can either mute the account, so their account will no longer appear on any of my feeds, or I can block them entirely so they can't see my posts, they can't reply to me or harass me in any way. So you can find those settings there, along with report the account if you're having any problems. So as I said, the list of the people you've blocked can be found under settings, moderation, and then muted or blocked accounts. You can also enable content filters. These are the ones set by default. Whether you want to enable or disable nudity or whatever, you can set all of that up there. The next item down is called content and media, and this is where you can make decisions on how certain posts are displayed on your feeds. Here you can manage your save feeds, just like I showed you before under the feeds section. You've also got thread preferences, so when you're looking at someone's post and then you've got all the people's replies underneath, you can choose in what order those replies are shown. So you can sort replies by like what the most popular is, which is a default here, or you want to see the oldest replies first, the newest replies first, and that kind of thing. So it allows you just to customize that side of things. You've got your following feed preferences. So the following feed will show you posts, but it can just show like replies as well and things, and reposts. You can turn those off. If you've got someone, I suppose, you're following who likes to repost quite a lot, then you can prevent things like that from showing up in your following feed, which is probably the one you might want to turn off the most, particularly if you've got someone who you like. You don't want to mute them, but they repost a lot of accounts. That's a really good way of turning that off. Then you've got external media. Now, the Bluesky handles external media really, really well. It's got media players enabled in the app, so you don't actually have to leave Bluesky in order to view certain media. So this is the list of media companies where there's a player that it will where it's embedded into the Bluesky post. You don't have to leave the Bluesky app in order to watch the video or listen to the music or see the picture. You can turn off the media players if that's something you want to do and you need to do, for things like YouTube and Apple Music, Spotify, and so on. It's all listed here, and that's how you will find it. And then we've got a few options at the bottom here. Use an in-app browser to open external links. So this is when you tap on a link in Bluesky, and then it opens up a temporary window for you to view that web link. Alternatively, if you turn that off, what happens is if you click a link in Bluesky, it will open up your default browser app on your phone, for example, Chrome or Safari. And then if people post videos or GIFs, it's autoplay is enabled by default, so automatically play. Again, you can turn that off. That's useful if you've got limited data, you need to preserve that. So that's really useful. And then from here, those trending topics I talked about earlier, you can turn those on or off if you don't want to see trending topics. Let's go down to the next one, which is appearance. This is just a way of, there's not many opportunities for customizing the look of the app, but you can set it to dark mode constantly, light mode, or to follow whatever the color mode of your system is if you've got it automated. You've got choose which dark theme you want, so you can go with dim or dark. So dark just gives it a black background instead of this sort of dark, very dark bluish grayish color there. You can choose to use the system font for your phone or the theme font. On iPhone, there really isn't that much difference, so it's just worth leaving it as it is. But I'll tell you what is possibly worth adjusting is the default size of the text of posts. Mine's set to large because I find smaller and default to be really quite small. But you can adjust that based on your personal preferences. Underneath that, we've got on the menu. Underneath that, we've got accessibility. This is where people should get in the habit of posting alt text for all the images they post. And if you want to be reminded to add that alt text to any images, you can enable this feature at the top here to make sure that you add that alt text to support those who are visually impaired. And now underneath we've got languages, which we can set the default languages for posting and reading. Then we've got help and about if you just need help with using the app. So that's an overview of the settings. Now, if you've heard people talk about Bluesky, you may have heard them talk about starter packs. This is a really, really interesting idea that Bluesky have come up with in order to help you find good accounts to follow. What a starter pack is, it's user-generated lists of people that they recommend that you follow. So here's my personal account for Bluesky. I've made a set of starter packs, and all it is if you tap on one of them, it's a list of cool accounts to follow. And these are shareable, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment, set up your own lists. But it means you can share it on other social media platforms or just share it even on Bluesky. And it enables people to find cool people to follow, which is really, really good. I've made some starter packs, as you can see. I'm going to link to these in the description below, so check out my starter packs as well to find, people to follow. But let me show you how to create your own starter packs. To do that, tap on your profile picture in the bottom right corner of the screen. And just above my pinned post, you can see I've got post, replies, media, and a whole list of things. I'm going to choose starter packs, and it was going to tell me I haven't created a starter pack yet, so I'm going to create one. Tap on create, and you can give it a name. So this is going to be the name of my starter pack, and then I'm going to hit next. And from here, I can just tick people off who I think are cool enough to be added to my list. So let me just add a bunch of people. Okay, so I've added 11 there. So now I'm going to tap on next, and then it allows me to add feeds, but I'm just going to skip that for now. And now I have my first starter pack, and it's got a list of people there. And it immediately comes up with a way of sharing it. So I can tap on share link, tap on copy. And then if I want to make a post, I can paste in the link to my starter pack and share that with people. Okay, so it's just a really nice way of finding people and sharing lists of people to follow. So another really good feature of Bluesky is the idea of moderation lists or block lists, and these allow you to block huge amounts of accounts basically because they are scammers or spammers or bots or whatever. So here is a moderation list made by another account, and I'll link to it in the description below for you to check out. These are content scrapers, and these are accounts that basically steal media content from across the web from other people, usually uncredited, and they are just sort of They post in order to gain followers, sometimes to make money or commit scams or whatever. So this is a huge list of accounts, okay? And to do that, at the top, mine says blocked. When you go onto this list, you can hit on subscribe, okay? Now, clumsy choice of wording, but if you're not subscribing to these accounts, what you're doing is when you subscribe and you tap on it, you can choose block accounts. And then you can block that entire list of accounts, so they can't interact with you, they won't appear on your discover list or anything like that. So it's really good. There's lots of these moderation lists available if you search for them. I'm going to post this one in the description below as a kind of example. There's a couple that I've got going that I've subscribed to, which is really useful just to improve your Bluesky experience. So check that out. Okay, so if you own your own custom domain, it is possible to have that domain as your handle on Bluesky instead of the long version. So at the moment, my username is @buzzkill.bsky.social. I own the domain name buzzkill.com. So I can actually use that domain name instead of this as my handle. So I'm going to show you kind of how to set it up, but you do need to own your own domain name in order to access this function. So to do that, I'm going to tap on the 3-line icon in the top left corner of the screen and go to settings. I'm then going to go to account, and then I'm going to go to handle. And from here, I can change the handle, the Bluesky handle, if I want to, but right at the bottom there's an option that says I have my own domain. So if you tap on that, what it presents to you is something that you need to add to your domain names record. Now, how you implement this is going to depend quite a lot on which company you've bought your domain name from. But what you're looking for is when you go log in with the account, so it could be DreamHost, GoDaddy, whatever, you log in, what you're looking for is the DNS information, DNS for that domain name, because what you need to do is add the information that's in this grey box here, and I've blocked some of it out because it's private information, but to copy that information and put it in the domain name settings on that account. And that way, when you verify that and Bluesky connects to your server to make sure it's there, it then knows it can use that domain as your Bluesky handle. So let's switch over to the desktop to see how that works. Okay, so I've logged into my domain account with DreamHost, and it might look a bit different, but you're looking for something called DNS or DNS records under that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click a button that says add record, and now I'm looking for a record called TXT, a text record, because that's all I'm going to add here. So I'm going to click on the add button. I'm going to scroll down, and it's asking for me to add the host and the value, and back in that grey box in the Bluesky app, they are the things that I'm going to add now, so that when Bluesky connects to this domain, it knows it's me that owns it. So let's set that up. Okay, so it took a few minutes to do that, but it is now complete. And if you go back to your profile, you refresh your page, you can see it's worked for me. I don't have that really long username anymore on Bluesky. It's now simply at buzzkill.com. So that completely works how intended. Hopefully it worked for you as well. Now, to finish off this video, we're going to look at a few extra things, a few extra tools that I have found to be really useful when using Bluesky. As good as Bluesky is, the app functionality isn't complete. There's still some things it'd be nice if it could do, but it doesn't matter because there's loads of really good third-party services and apps that work really well with Bluesky. My first recommendation is a website called blueskycounter.com. And this is really useful if tracking followers is something that's really important. If you're looking to sort of be able to get some basic analytics for growth on your Bluesky account, this is quite a good website. It's not comprehensive, it doesn't go that deep in detail, but it does give you quite a nice graphical overview of how your account's performing. So when you sign up at blueskycounter.com, you get some data about the growth of your followers, and you can see from a drop down menu, you can view it weekly, monthly, daily, you can view it over time. It's all good like that. You can also look at sort of the daily new followers you've received. You can download all this as a PNG file, by the way, if that's something that is important to you. So as I say, it's not comprehensive, but it's just kind of a useful tool to give you some idea of the dates at which you got more followers and the rate that your account is growing. My next recommendation is something that addresses something quite basic that's missing from the Bluesky app. If you follow an account and you want to get a notification every time that account makes a post, that feature isn't available currently on the Bluesky app, but Blue Notify, available in the App Store, does exactly that. So you open up the app, you go to settings, and you add the account or your own account. So let me just add buzzkill.com, which is my new Bluesky handle. And now if I go back to edit notifications and I click on the plus icon, it will load up the list of accounts that I am following on Bluesky. And let's just say 9to5Mac. I'll tap on add. And now I've got some settings. So it could be that I want to get a notification when they post something, but I might want to include reposts or replies or anything like that. So it just allows you to track specific accounts, and it could be good for like news accounts. So if you follow a particular news organization and you want to get notifications of when they put out posts, it could be really good for something like that. So this app is called Blue Notify, and I'll put it in the description below. My next recommendation is something called Profile Cleaner. This is a website, and I'll put a link to it in the description below. But what this does is it allows you to mass delete a lot of Bluesky posts from your profile. And there could be lots of reasons you want to do this. You might want to tidy things up, or maybe you're doing what I did and accidentally imported too many Twitter posts, like I showed you at the beginning of the tutorial. But this allows you to enter your Bluesky handle, use an app password, and I showed you how to do that earlier in the tutorial. And then you've got an option where it allows you to delete all posts older than a certain point. So it could be that anything older than a month or 30 days, you want it deleted, you want it gone. Or anything older than a year, 18 months, whatever. You can set that limit. You can then hit preview, and it will work out how many posts it's going to delete from your profile, and then you can hit submit. It takes a few minutes, doesn't take long at all, and then it's done. And then it allows you to have a way of just cleaning up all of your old posts and getting rid of them if that's something that you'd like to do. So if you want to be able to use Bluesky on your Apple Watch, there is an app for that as well. It's called Butterfly, and if you open it up, it allows you to see posts from your following, your discover, and your popular with friends feeds. Custom feeds I don't think works with this quite yet, but if you scroll down, it works really well. You can interact with posts, you can like, you can reply, and it's all very good. You can view your profile. I think you can make some changes to it, but as a really good basic app, it works quite well on Apple Watch, and it's called Butterfly. And it's free, but it costs, if you want to use all the features, it only costs a couple of pounds. So it's really cheap, no subscription. It works really well. So I recommend that. It's called Butterfly. And finally, it is possible to use Bluesky in VR and AR if you have a Vision Pro or a Meta Quest 3 headset. There isn't a specific app, but it does work in the browsers, so Safari or the Meta Quest browser. You sign in, it works exactly as intended as if you're using it on a computer. So it's just another way of using Bluesky if that's something you really want to be able to do. So that's the end of this tutorial for Bluesky. I hope you found it useful. Please like, comment and subscribe if you did. You can find me on Bluesky at mattkill.com. Please follow me there, say hello, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And I imagine, given all the developments with Bluesky, there's probably going to be a part 2 of this Bluesky tutorial series sometime in the future. So look out for that one. And thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video.